Right now, while you're watching this, a huge number of gardeners are hanging up their gloves for the year. The spring tomatoes are done, the zucchini's slowing down, and somewhere in the back of their mind, they've already decided the season is basically over until next spring. That's the single most expensive mistake in home gardening, and almost nobody talks about it. Here's the part they're missing. There's a second growing season hiding inside every calendar year, and it starts right now, in August. It's not a smaller version of spring. In a lot of ways, it's better than spring. Because of one thing spring can never give you: a long, slow slide into cold. And cold is exactly what turns a lot of vegetables from fine into genuinely incredible. By the end of this video, you'll have a full list of 15 crops you can put in the ground this month, plus the exact reason each one gets better as the temperature drops. Stick around for number 5. It's the one that goes from bitter and unusable in July to something people pay premium prices for at farmers markets in November. And number 15 is so fast you'll be eating it before the month is even out. If this kind of practical, no-fluff gardening content is useful to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Secret Garden Roots posts this stuff every week, and you don't want to miss the fall series that's coming after this one. Let's get into the list. Number 1. Radishes. Everybody thinks of radishes as a spring crop, and that's exactly why most people never taste a truly good one. Spring radishes are stuck in a bad spot. Plant too early. The ground's too cold and germination drags. Plant even a little too late. Rising heat pushes the plant to bolt, and once it bolts, the root goes spongy and the flavor turns almost aggressively hot. August flips that whole equation. The soil's still warm, so seeds pop in 4 to 5 days. Then, as the plant grows through September, the weather starts cooperating instead of fighting it. Cooler nights, shorter days, steady growth. What comes out of the ground is crisp, bright, and only mildly spicy, nothing like the harsh version most people grew up eating. You're looking at roughly 3 to 4 weeks from seed to harvest, so your first radishes could be on the table before September even starts. Sow a short row every 10 days through mid-September, and you'll have a rolling harvest clear into October. Just don't let them sit in the ground past their window. A forgotten radish turns woody and bitter within a few days of maturity. Number 2. Arugula. If speed is what you're after, arugula might be the fastest thing on this entire list. A lot of varieties are ready in as little as 3 weeks. Plant it now, and you're eating fresh salad greens before the month is out. But speed isn't even the best part. Arugula grown in the cooling days of fall has a completely different personality than summer arugula. The sharp, almost overwhelming peppery bite that turns some people off softens up as temperatures drop, leaving you with something nutty, clean, and just lightly spicy. Genuinely easy to love. One mistake trips people up constantly: letting the leaves grow too big. Small leaves, 2 to 3 inches, are mild and sweet. Let them stretch to 5 or 6 inches, and the flavor turns sharp enough to dominate a whole salad. Cut with scissors about 1 inch above the soil, and it'll regrow in under 2 weeks. Stagger 2 plantings, 2 weeks apart, and you've got continuous mild arugula from late August straight through October. Number 3. Mustard greens. Mustard greens mature in about 30 to 40 days, which makes them one of the quickest bold greens you can grow. Plant now, and you've got a real harvest before September wraps up. Most people's only experience with mustard greens is the classic slow-simmered southern preparation. Smoky, rich, a little peppery. That dish earns its reputation. But there's a version almost nobody tries. Young mustard greens, harvested small in September once the heat's broken, are mild enough to toss raw into a salad, with just enough kick to make it interesting. Here's the timing detail that actually matters. Plant in the second half of August, not the first. Seeds sown too early, while it's still blazing hot, produce leaves that are almost too sharp to enjoy. Give the plants a chance to mature as temperatures ease down, and you get a green with real balance instead of pure heat. Number 4. Spinach. Spring spinach is basically playing a losing game from day one. It grows for a few weeks, then the second the days stretch out and the heat climbs, it bolts. Flower stalk shoots up, and every leaf on the plant turns bitter almost overnight. Fall spinach doesn't have that problem, because it's growing in exactly the direction it wants to. Sow now while the soil's still warm enough for solid germination, 5 to 7 days, and the plant will establish itself through the last stretch of summer before shifting into the cool, slow growth pattern it's actually built for. What comes off that plant in October is sweeter and more tender than anything a spring garden ever produces. One tip that separates good fall spinach from a failed batch: if you're anywhere hot, wait until the back half of August. Soil above about 85 degrees straight up blocks spinach germination. So a couple extra weeks of cooling gives your seeds a real shot. Grab a bolt-resistant variety if your garden center has one, and you'll stretch that window even further. Number 5. Kale. This is the one I promised you at the start, and it's not subtle at all. When temperatures drop below freezing, not just cool, actually freezing, kale does something remarkable. It converts its stored starches into sugar as a defense mechanism, and the leaves that come after that hard frost are noticeably sweeter and more tender than anything the plant grew all summer. That's not a small difference. Kale pulled in November, after a few good frosts, tastes like a different vegetable compared to the same plant harvested in September. It's why you'll see farmers market vendors selling out of frost-kissed kale within the first hour on a cold Saturday morning. People who know. Plant now, let it establish through September, and let the first frosts of October and November do the flavor work for you. Harvest the outer leaves and leave the center growing, and one plant can keep feeding you well into December in milder zones. All right, quick pause before we keep going. If you're already thinking about which of these you're planting first, drop it in the comments right now and tell me your growing zone while you're at it. I read these, and honestly, someone gardening in your exact climate is probably scrolling the comments right now looking for exactly that kind of real-world confirmation. It helps more than you'd think. Okay, let's keep moving. 10 more crops to go. Number 6. Carrots. This one sounds like a gardening myth until you actually taste it, but it's just plant biology. Cold nights in October and November trigger carrots to convert stored starches into sugar, the same mechanism behind kale and Brussels sprouts. A carrot pulled in November, after a handful of cold nights, is noticeably sweeter than one pulled in June. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder what else the grocery store's been hiding from you. The catch with an August planting is germination. Carrot seeds need consistent surface moisture, and August heat can dry that top layer out within hours. Here's the fix most people never hear about. After sowing, lay a board or a piece of burlap right over the row. It holds moisture through the hottest part of the day. Check under it every morning, and the second you spot sprouts, pull the covering off. Go with a shorter, stockier variety for fall planting. They push through average soil without needing deep, perfectly loosened rows. Number 7. Beets. Most people think of beets as one crop, but you're actually getting 2 harvests out of a single planting. The greens are edible starting around 30 days in, way before the roots are ready, and they taste like a mild, earthy spinach, sautéed with a little garlic. They're one of the easiest wins in the whole fall garden. The roots follow later, somewhere around 55 to 70 days, ready right in October when cold weather has done its sweetening work. Just like carrots, beets store more sugar when they're maturing in cool temperatures, so an August planted beet pulled in October genuinely tastes sweeter than a spring one. Pull them once the top of the root, visible right at the soil line, is about 2 to 3 inches across. Wait longer, and the texture turns woody fast. Number 8. Collard greens. Collards are, hands down, the toughest leafy green you can grow. Hardier than kale, tougher than chard, and able to shrug off cold that would finish most other crops. If you're in a warmer zone, a big chunk of the South, the Mid-Atlantic, parts of the Pacific coast, an August planting will keep producing straight through fall and well into winter. And just like kale, the first frost doesn't hurt collards, it improves them. The same starch-to-sugar conversion kicks in, and it's dramatic. A plant that tasted a little bold and bitter in September turns rich and deeply savory after that first hard November frost. This isn't a new discovery. Southern home gardeners have known it for generations. Give plants room, around 18 inches apart, because they get big. Harvest the lower outer leaves first, and the plant keeps producing new growth from the center for months afterward. Number 9. Swiss chard. Chard does something almost no other vegetable manages. It thrives through August heat and then just keeps going straight through November frost without missing a beat. Most cool season greens pick a lane, spring or fall. Chard doesn't bolt in summer heat like spinach does, and it doesn't quit after the first frost either. It just keeps producing. Here's something a lot of first-time growers don't realize until they've grown their own. The leaves and the stems are basically 2 different ingredients. The leaves cook fast, wilted down in under 2 minutes, almost exactly like spinach. The thick stems need another 4 or 5 minutes on top of that. Separate them when you harvest. Get the stems in the pan first, then add the leaves right at the end. If you go with a rainbow variety, you'll get stems in deep red, orange, yellow, and white. It's one of the best-looking vegetables you'll grow all year, and the flavor matches the presentation. Number 10. Bok choy. Bok choy doesn't get nearly enough attention in American gardens, which is a shame, because it's one of the most rewarding fall crops out there. Baby varieties are ready in around 30 days. Full-size ones take 45 to 60. But either way, an August planting gives you a real harvest well ahead of first frost. If your only experience with bok choy is the grocery store version in a stir-fry, growing your own is going to surprise you. Fresh bok choy has a crunch and sweetness that starts fading within days of harvest, which means what you're buying at the store is almost never actually fresh. Two things matter for an August planting: shade and moisture. Seeds won't germinate well above about 80 degrees, so pick a spot with some afternoon shade and keep it consistently watered until seedlings are established. Once it's past that stage, bok choy grows fast in cooling fall temperatures, and by the time it's ready in late September or October, it's genuinely at its best. Alright, quick second break here. If you're finding this useful, this is a great moment to hit subscribe. Secret Garden Roots drops a new growing guide every single week, and if you want the full fall planting calendar broken down by zone, that video's linked in the description. Let's finish the list. Number 11. Broccoli. Broccoli trips up a lot of American gardeners because of one simple timing mistake. They plant it in spring, it bolts before it ever forms a proper head once summer heat hits, and they write the whole crop off as too difficult. Broccoli isn't hard. It just needs to mature in cool weather, and an August planting delivers exactly that. Start seeds indoors now, and you'll have transplant-ready seedlings in 3 to 4 weeks. Set them out in late August or early September, and the heads mature in October, when cool temperatures tighten them up and concentrate the flavor. A head that develops in crisp October air is a completely different vegetable from the woody, yellow-edged heads that come out of a spring plant fighting through June heat. Here's a detail that extends your harvest significantly. After you cut the main head, don't pull the plant. Side shoots keep forming at the base and along the leaf joints for weeks afterward. They're smaller, but just as good. Look for a fast variety, somewhere in the 60 to 70 day range, so it has time to finish before your first hard frost. Number 12. Kohlrabi. Kohlrabi confuses people the second they see it in a produce aisle. This round, swollen stem with leaves shooting out in every direction. Not quite a bulb, not quite a root. It looks complicated. It isn't. Peel it, slice it, eat it raw. The flavor sits somewhere between a broccoli stem and an apple. Mild, a little sweet, genuinely crisp, and it needs zero cooking to be good. Roasted, it develops a nuttiness close to a turnip, just gentler. For an August planting, kohlrabi is close to ideal. It matures in 45 to 60 days and actually prefers sizing up during the cooler weeks of September. Harvest once the bulb hits 2 to 3 inches across. Go bigger than that and it turns woody and loses its texture fast. Number 13. Turnips. Turnips have a branding problem in America. Most people have only ever had the large, old storage kind. Starchy, fibrous, sharp enough to be unpleasant. That's not what a fresh turnip actually is. Pull one at golf ball size, around 2 inches across, from an August planting maturing in October, and you get something completely different. Mild, a little sweet, crisp enough to eat raw straight off the cutting board. And just like beets, you get a bonus crop before the root's even ready. The greens are edible starting around 30 days in, a few weeks ahead of the roots. They cook up peppery and substantial, close to mustard greens, and they're some of the most nutrient-dense greens you'll grow all season. One planting, 2 harvests. If you want to change how you think about turnips entirely, look for a Japanese salad turnip variety. Small, smooth, white, and mild enough to eat straight out of the garden, with nothing done to it. Number 14. Lettuce. Anyone who's fought bitter, bolting lettuce all summer deserves a second shot at it, and August is exactly that. The same lettuce that turned bitter within days back in June and July becomes one of the easiest, most reliable crops in the garden once nights start cooling down in September. The trick with an August planting is managing germination. Lettuce seed has a built-in defense called thermodormancy. Above roughly 80 degrees, it just refuses to sprout, which is why so many summer lettuce plantings fail before they even start. Sow in a spot with afternoon shade, water thoroughly first, and if you want extra insurance, lay a light cloth over the bed for the first 5 to 7 days to keep the surface cool. Once seedlings are up and around 2 inches tall, they'll ride out the rest of the summer heat just fine. And by harvest time, the air's cool and the leaves are sweet. Lettuce doing exactly what it's built to do. Number 15. Scallions. Last one on the list, and honestly, it might be the one you end up using the most. Not the flashiest crop here, but the most useful. Fresh green onions on eggs, folded into a salad, scattered over soup, thrown on anything off the grill. Having them a few steps from your kitchen door from late September through November is one of those small things that makes gardening feel worth it on a random Tuesday. Seeds sprout in about 7 to 10 days, and you're harvesting around the 60-day mark. Here's the technique that stretches your harvest way further than most people realize. Don't pull the whole plant. Snip the green tops with scissors, about an inch above the soil, Leave the bulb in the ground, and new growth comes back in 10 to 14 days. One August planting can give you 2 to 3 full cuttings before the season closes out, sometimes more in milder climates. It barely asks anything of you either. A narrow strip along the edge of any bed and regular water is basically the whole job. That's 15 crops, all of them going in the ground this month, all of them handing you a real harvest in September, October, and November, right when most gardens are winding down and yours is just getting started. August isn't the tail end of the growing season. For anyone who knows what they're doing, it's the opening of the best part of it. So here's what I want from you. Which one of these are you planting first? Drop it in the comments, and tell me your growing zone. Somebody in your exact climate is reading those comments right now, and your answer might be exactly what they needed to see. If this was useful, hit subscribe, because Secret Garden Roots is going to keep building out this fall growing series week by week, and you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.